Hey all, we're back again. It's been a few days because I've had to wait for this part. So that range change sensor, had to get it from interstate. So anyway, sump's off, transmission sump is off, okay? Now what we're gonna have to do is we need to take the whole valve body off because the range changer sensor, which is called the lead rail, okay, or the lead rail, is part of it. So we have to get some bolts on the upper side. So in the wisdom of this transmission manufacturer, they decided for the range change sensor to be right here, which is basically a plastic slide. Now I can see there's all sorts of gunk and crap there. Look at that, okay, which is wearable material. So there's the spool, that's the selector spool, so the transmission sort of knows what's going on. And then what happens is this slide is actually magnetic, okay, so it tells the computer what position it's in. So if there's any wear in here, whoops, hang on a minute, I've got some oil on the lens, hang on. Oh, there we go, that's better. All right, so when you've got some wear in that sensor, it's going to cause issues. All right, so anyway, I'll take the whole thing off, put it on the bench. I'll quickly show you what the new one's like. And you'll think to yourself, my God, why have they done this? But here's what it is. There we go, everybody. Have a look at that. All right, $750. I'm using genuine parts because that's pretty much what we should do, especially with a decent job here where you got to drain all the oil and stuff around. Okay, so we've got that slide, okay, which is here. All right, so the little spool goes on here. All right, and then obviously the cable is on the other side from the T-bar, and that moves that along. That's all it is. Okay, great in theory. But unfortunately, we have to change this whole unit. And it's basically what I would call a multi-function sensor. And the reason being is because they're using a couple of RPM sensors on it as well. There's one there, okay? And then all your solenoid controls and the harness plug, okay? So there's all your solenoids, okay? So I won't go into that. That's operations of the trans. So we'll change this out, put oil in it and see what it does. Back soon. All right, she's out. So there we go. That's the new range change sensor. And there's the old one on the valve body. So we've got a few little bolts to take out, take it off. Now, what I'll do is I'll just show you the selector again. So what I might do is I might just turn this over, probably see it a bit better. There we go. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that. There's a little slot just there. And there's a little dicky lever that comes down from the actual cable, the range change cable from the T-bar and the cab, all right? And all it does, like it's been doing for years, is usually go straight onto here, okay? And moves the spool, okay, in and out. So you have, you know, park, reverse, neutral, 3, 2, 1, okay? But that is part of this magnetic sensor. You can really see a lot of gunk on here, and it's quite floppy in there compared to the new one. See all that? So that's basically between, yeah, the magnetic strip, clutch material, and oil there. All right, so anyway, I will change that range change sensor. So there's your solenoids, guys. Okay, they're just a 2-pin, all right, and then they'll just match up when we plug it all in as one piece on there. So you got a positive, negative, positive, negative. All right, that's how solenoids come on and off. Quite simple. Yeah, look, the engineering of these is amazing. I worked with Allison Transmission there for a while, and I'll tell you what, you know, I've seen Allison Transmissions for the last, 30 plus years, but they've really come a long way. They're definitely going to be the leader in the industry forever, especially road transport and heavy haulage, etc. Medium large trucks. Yeah, look, they've really narrowed things down, refined things, a few little hiccups here and there, like these Ford transmissions and the GM stuff, but all in all they're getting better until they break. So that's on us guys, just got to fix it. But we've got to get away from just changing transmissions out, changing parts without knowing what we're doing. Let's diagnose, let's understand how it works, okay? And that's why I like doing these videos, because I've showed you how it works and how we use, the the scan tool and all that sort of thing. Sometimes it doesn't tell you everything, which is what it shouldn't do. We need to know, we need to be able to use our own brains and understand it. Anyway, moving on, I'll change it, fit it, sump on, oil in, and let's see what happens. All right, guys, see you soon. All right, just quickly, before I put it up, I've put it on there. I've tensioned all the bolts. Just make sure you obviously tension all bolts to spec. And also, when you've got the valve body off, because this catches people out now and then around the world, just go over all the other bolts, even the ones that you haven't touched, and just make sure that they're all tight. Because I have had quite a few over the years that a bit loose. Someone's, you know, played with it before and forgotten to tighten them. It's all good. But it's a good time to just check over things, you know, when you've had it out. Jeez, it's right there. So the other thing I wanted to mention, I think, is I'd made a mistake, I reckon, when I showed you where the linkage from the transmission comes from the T-bar cable. I've got a better view now. So it basically goes inside the spool mechanically, all right? So I'm just using a screwdriver and it moves the spool in and out, okay? So fluid, directional change, and then obviously it's got the magnetic slide that we were talking about before. So sorry about that, guys. Better be a bit more thorough there, okay? So there it is. All right, I'll put it up and let's see what it does. All right, so trans back together, oil's in it. I've run up, checked the oil level again. It is spot on. Use a recommended fluids, which in this case is fully synthetic. So what I've done is I've gone for a quick road test. It was good. I've come back. Basically, the reason I wait for a road test, make sure, you know, when I get back, I plug the scan tool in and there's no fault codes. So obviously, we're not going to get fault codes in the shop unless it's you know, something bad going on. So I just find it easy to just go for a spin, come back, plug the scan tool in, and then assess the situation and have a look at the real-time data. So in this case, we just want to make sure after fitting that range change sensor, that basically where the computer as an input from the new sensor is seeing, you know, park, reverse, neutral, 4, 3, 2, 1, and their manual shifting inputs. All right, so originally the other one was seeing that, but we couldn't see the intermittent errors. So the fault code that come up, remember, was basically the TCM couldn't see. There was deviation in the input. So the car was in drive, but the TCM, you know, seen that it was out of drive for milliseconds or whatever was going on. All right, so that's where a graph is good. Or if we record and capture that data, that's when we find those little things. But we can also bypass that by using Logic's experience and looking at the sensors, see what they do, and make a judgment call from there. So anyway, so I've plugged in the scan tool. I've brought up transmission range sensor position. We'll just quickly look at it. There's no codes. I'll just check because the ignition's been on. We'll go through and just make sure. And then I think we are safe to call it. And then there's something else I want to talk about quickly too, which is very favourable for me in the business. So I'll just turn the camera around. Okay, so transmission range sensor position park. We are in park. So calling it out manually. So we'll go foot on the brake to unlock it. Reverse. Neutral. Drive, overdrive. Manually selected. Shift, okay. It's seeing all the references. All right, so that's fine. We know that this, I've installed it correctly. I haven't misjudged the pin. Plus, it drives and runs, so I know I got that right anyway. So, all right. So just remember, guys and girls, just look at the specific sensor. Make sure the inputs, because you've got to remember, a sensor is an input to the computer module. The computer module then outputs something. For whatever that system includes. In this scenario, if we go into reverse, the TCM now, the transmission control module now has a reversed input from our stick, and it needs to energize the solenoids that are referenced to first gear. Okay, and then it tells the computer in the car that we're going in drive. etc, etc, etc. All right, so quite simple. All of this is the same stuff, guys. It really is. Over the years, I've gone from seeing, I was brought up in the mechanical days. There was none of this, okay? And then I've been lucky to grow up with it. But I tell you what, over the years, things just really haven't changed. The systems are more involved and complex. I get all that. But it's all the same crap. All right, so don't be scared of it, please. And if you've got any questions, shoot me an email. I don't know everything, I can tell you that much. And I'll never say that I do, because I'll be lying, simple as that. Anyway, so there's one other thing I just want to quickly talk about. And I guess, what's going on here? I guess as a business owner, there's certain suppliers that you have in your business, even as a backyard workshop guy. But I want to talk about these guys. So just bear with. I don't know if you can see that. Battery World. See that? Battery World. Oh, this camera, I tell you what, give me the shits. All right, Battery World. So I choose to use Battery World in Hilton, on Sir Donald Bradman Drive. So Kim and Brian, the guys down there, it's just nice to be able to go somewhere where they know what they're talking about. Because I tell you what, over the last few years, I've had to do the jobs for the people behind the counter at the battery shops, because a lot of them are clueless. Hard to find skilled people these days, or people that know what they're doing. I don't have time for bullshit. I don't have time to do other people's jobs for them. Not being big-headed, but a lot of experience. I know what I'm doing. I know the battery I need, and but reference numbers, how to use a computer system, etc., etc. These guys are unreal. So I've now got batteries for my fobs, so key fobs for your cars, marine batteries, truck and car batteries, motorbike batteries, even the little batteries for the torch in my spray guns for painting. Yeah, so you want batteries? No rubbish, very quick service, very competitive prices. Go see Kimbo and Brian down at the Hilton Battery World. All right. So anyway, I'll call it for this one. Car drive's good. Cantankerous task, very messy, especially getting the pans off in these Everest, because there's bars in the way and you've got to tilt it out, and the sumps do not have goddamn transmission drain plugs for the oil. I just don't get it. And it's not a safety thing. It's not a, being dumb technicians thing, because I've worked on $100,000 transmissions that have drain plugs. All right. So anyway, nice to talk to you. Hope this is something for you guys. There's plenty more coming, because I'm getting a lot more of the techie stuff. And as you know, I'll give anything a crack, because I'm here for you guys and I really enjoy it. So be good, and we'll see you again. Cheerio.